Hey poos, if this is your first time on my channel, you are most definitely welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for supporting and sticking with your girl. And I just want to give you guys a huge shout out and just appreciate you guys, and thank you guys so much for all the love on my most recent videos. Thank you guys for subscribing, for sticking with your girl, following me all through whatever it is I be going through. I appreciate it so much. We are almost at 10,000 subscribers. 10,000 subscribers. That means 10,000 people care about my journey. That kind of blows my mind, and I do not take it for granted. I don't take it lightly, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you guys so much. If you're not following me on the Instagram, go ahead and follow me on the Instagram at @thepretymed_. I hope everyone had a restful Thanksgiving, had some turkey, some jello fries, whatever it is y'all be eating. I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. I studied a little bit. It just kind of felt good to have a break, like a real break, not like a fake one. And I am so looking forward to winter vacation. Ooh, y'all, I'll just be resting. You know, I'll probably throw a little bit of studying in there, but I'll mostly be resting, spending time with myself, a little time with family. I'll definitely have a lot more time to create content, which, first of all, can we just give me a shout out, because your girl is a full-time med student, and somehow, some way, I've been more consistent on YouTube than I have been in my entire life. So I just have to pat myself on the back for that one. But I am feeling good. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot wait to just take Christmas pictures for Instagram. I'm trying to set an appointment with this hairstylist that does really good lace fronts. Hopefully I'm gonna have my hair slayed for the holidays. A holla slay, you know. I'm definitely gonna be posting the Instagram photos. And I just purchased this really nice bag that I'm like, ooh, I just need an outfit to style it with, and then we will be good to go. Also, my school has officially canceled spring break. They broke the news to us about a week and a half ago while we were taking an exam. So they sent the email while we were in our exam. So then when you came out of your exam and you read the email, you're like, by the way, you don't have a spring break. And I just thought that was so disrespectful. I was like, oh no. And I think I was more upset. So first of all, I want to say, I think I am one of those people that I tend to be a bit more accommodating of things or changes the school has had to make because of coronavirus, right? And making sure all students are safe and making sure they are keeping protocol. Like, I think I've been very accommodating of that, and haven't really been too upset about certain changes that need to be made. But it just felt kind of drastic to say that you're just going to take a whole week of vacation in the middle of a semester of a medical school. Like, that's what made me upset, because I was just like, can you imagine going for 4 or 5 months straight with no break? I can't. Like, I'm still getting used to the concept of a semester, because at Stanford we were on quarter system, so we only had about 10 weeks of classes and we were done, versus I've been here for more than 12 weeks. I've been here for what, at this point, 12, 15. I've been here for at least like 17 weeks, and it is stressing my edges out, you guys. It is stressing my edges out. So the idea of not having any kind of, like, you know, break seems very so I'm not too happy about that. And, you know, of course, I said my piece in the group chat, and I think, you know, some people reached out to the dean and everything, and I think they're gonna try to give us like some 3-4 day weekend type of things, which, if I'm being very honest with you guys, I will take whatever I will get. But I just know that during that 3-4 day weekend, I'm still going to use it to study, because I have to come back to school sooner rather than later. So I'm gonna be like stressed about studying and not forgetting the things I just learned. So that's me personally. But if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that, like, I will say 80% of my stories are of me complaining about being a medical student and being in medical school. And I will shamelessly say that, yes, I do complain. And you know what? Who gonna check me? And I do what we call privileged complaining. It's when you recognize and you know that you are in a privileged place. You know that you are very fortunate with what you have. But it's okay to be like, you know what? I am very fortunate to be in this position, but this still is not it. And that's really my mood for medical school since maybe like 12 weeks ago. To be honest, I feel like sometimes, because I tend to like post things on my story and I'm like, I hate it here and all that kind of stuff, I think some people think that like I'm miserable, and the truth is well, I am. I find complaining and, you know, saying funny stuff like, you know, I find that, you know, complaining and saying funny stuff like, you know, medical school is ghetto and I hate it here is a coping mechanism. And I was talking to a med student. She's a 4th year at a different school. She's also a med influencer as well. And I was just telling her, honestly, like, I'm complaining, but I'm also okay. You know, like, I'm not miserable. I'm not dying. I'm just complaining to complain and get it out of my system and to vent. And, you know, something she said is that definitely she feels like that is like med students' coping mechanism of like complaining. And I don't even know, I feel like complaining has such a negative connotation to it, so I don't want to use the word complaining. Maybe I'll say venting, you know. She was just like, you know, it happens to the best of us. And the truth is, between me and my med school friends, I feel like 70% of the time we are just like venting about school. The other 30% is anything else outside of school. So I just want you to know I'm alive, I'm okay, I complain, but I will be fine, and I am grateful for where I'm at. Like, I do not regret being where I am one bit. Like, as challenging as it is, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna get through it. Like, I have grit, I have resilience, I have discipline. So it's gonna take a whole lot for me to be like officially over with medical school to the point where I'm just like, I'm dropping out, you know? Don't get me wrong, there are some med students that like are genuine true complainers where it's like every single thing it's a problem. Those kind of people I don't stand, because at that point now you're just like not trying to be flexible at all. Like, I definitely have seen people complain about every little thing and I'm just like, let it go, sis, let it go. I honestly also like venting and stuff on my social media because I use it for comedic relief and I find it funny, and I just like sharing, you know. I think it's a funny way to kind of talk about the realities of medical school and talk about what it's like being a med student. And I think that's why my video medical school is ghetto was so popular, because if you notice, a lot of med students who commented, almost every single person agreed with me. Like, I have yet to find someone who like disagreed with that statement. Like, people may have not liked the term I use, which I don't care, but no one disagreed. Like, no one in medical school or who has been to medical school disagreed with that. So that should already tell you that like something is happening that is like, it's just not it, you know? It's just not it. I'm really going for like a very natural, shiny look today. And as much as I love to like, you know, talk trash about medical school, I feel like only I get to talk trash about medical school. You don't get to talk trash about medical school or me being in medical school. And I say this because for Thanksgiving, I was at my dad's friend's house, and it was a small get-together, small dinner of like just 6 of us or 7. My dad's friend was a medical doctor in Nigeria, but he doesn't practice here. You know, he'd ask me, oh, how's school going? Like, you know, are you guys in clerkships? Like, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, I am 2 years away from that, sir. But medical school is going, you know, we thank God we're alive, we stand. It became, and these are Nigerians, keep in mind. Then it became a conversation of like, he basically was like, if I could do it all over again, I would have never gone to medical school. I would have gone to like, I would have done finance or something. And I was like, well, I am sorry to hear that for you, you know? Bless my mom's soul and my father's soul. My mom was like, yeah, you really have to have a passion for it because it's so challenging if you don't have a passion for it, da 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 da. And I'm looking at her like, ma'am, how would you know? You're not in medical school. You're not pursuing medical school. You pursue education, childhood education. So what is going on? And then it became this adult conversation of everyone who is not currently in medical school and people who are not in medicine. And I'm just sitting at the dinner table like, I'm gonna just let y'all have this conversation and I'm just gonna continue eating my jollof rice because this conversation is for y'all, not me. One last thing I had wanted to say, because I was just like, it felt like the conversation was really just getting like, but just like, yeah, how medical school is so challenging and it's like, it's really tough, and which is all true, but it was like the tone, you really have to want it type. I don't know if I'm explaining the kind of tone it was in very well, but it was just the kind of tone that I was just like, I'm not really liking where this is going. So let me just kind of wrap up the conversation by saying, if I could do it all over again, I would still choose medicine. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to verbalize what happened. And then this other person who I don't know, but I was at this dinner table, was like, yeah, you know, like, we're not, you know, it's a great thing, but I just wouldn't want to be you. And y'all know me. I was was just like, you know, I was just like, I hear you. But in the back of my head, I was kind of upset by that comment. Like, I was very upset by that comment because I was just like, what is that supposed to mean? You wouldn't want to be me? As if, like, I don't know, it just came across the wrong way, and it really bothered me. And I was just like, I know you're not about to play me being in medical school and me pursuing medicine, you know? So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna let y'all have this and just mind my business. As I was leaving, you know, my dad's friend, he was like, you know, just hang in there. And I was like, you know, thank you, you know, but in the back of my head, I was like, sir, I am hanging in there. I mean, I'm hanging on by a thread, but I'm still hanging, you know? I don't know. I feel very weird about it. Like, I get to complain about medical school and I get to talk about how hard it is and how, like, all that kind of stuff, but it makes me feel some kind of way when people who aren't in medicine do the same thing, you know? It's like, no, you don't get to do that because you're not here. You're not where I'm at, so you don't get to make these claims. I don't know if, like, I'm coming across the right way or if you guys get what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like the same thing of, like, I can make jokes about myself and I can insult myself and I can crack jokes about myself, but you don't get to do that, you know, that kind of mentality. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But I think a bigger issue or a bigger thing is just this concept of, like, people, loved ones, family, friends, everyone constantly asking you how medical school is going and what's up and, like, you know, how you like it. And my roommate had brought it up. She was asking a couple of us, she was like, does anyone else get upset or tired of having to talk about medical school at the dinner table or with friends and family and, like, having everyone ask you? And it is kind of stressful and annoying because it's just like, I spend 80% of my life and day thinking about medical school, being in medical school, existing as a med student, that, like, when I am around people who are just not medicine related, I don't want to talk about medicine, and that's just the truth. Even there was a couple weeks ago, I was on FaceTime with some friends and they were like, oh, you know, Shoni, how's school going? How's med school and all that kind of stuff? And I think if you're one of my personal friends or someone who is close to me and you typically ask me, you'll find that I give very short answers and I don't talk too long about it unless, you know, I'm really being pressed about a certain thing or I want to talk about a specific story. But I really keep my answers short. And, like, when they asked me, I was just like, school is school, it's going, it's there, there's nothing more to say about it, you know, because I don't want to talk about it, you know, I'm tired, I don't want to talk about it with you guys. I'm here hanging out with you guys on the FaceTime to talk about other stuff, to, like, know what's going on in your life, to, like, kiki, to gossip, to sip some tea, you know? You're also probably like, well, you always be talking about medical school on your YouTube channel and stuff. Well, my YouTube channel is medicine focused, so it makes sense that I would do that. It's part of, you know, my niche. But speaking of friends, I get this question a lot about preserving mental health in medical school and med school life balance, and do you have time outside of medical school to do things you love? I, like, get that question a lot, and it's so interesting because I think most of the time when I'm posting on my story, I'm either posting my study schedule or, like, you know, me doing work, or I'm posting my Anki flashcards or just, you know, something related to, like, studying and doing schoolwork. And I apologize if this is what it comes off like on my Instagram. Well, actually, no, I don't apologize for anything I post. But you can have a life out of medical school if you choose to and if you want to. And I emphasize the choice and the desire to, because, and this is so interesting because me and my roommate had this conversation and it kind of got heated because we were with a group of friends and we were just painting and sipping and stuff. She had, you know, brought up the fact that, and she's talked about this for a long time, she brought up the fact how she wants to have a very healthy balance between school and outside personal free time, like making friends, really experiencing life and not letting medical school take over your life. She's brought it up many times and talked about how that's, you know, that's what she feels is healthy for her, because from her experience, you know, in undergrad, and my roommate's very smart, by the way, I'ma just tell y'all, this girl is like, she was like top of her class in college, so she is very smart. And she talked about how in college, you know, she really didn't have that. Like, she'd be so focused on studying and, you know, would miss opportunities to go out with friends and all that kind of stuff, and she doesn't want to repeat that same experience in medical school. And to me personally, it felt like often it would come across as her indicating or saying that like any other mentality regarding how you want to be a med student is like unhealthy, right? Because it was so emphasized so much that like balance, you know, you really don't want to be locked in your room studying all the time and all that kind of stuff, which of course I agree to a certain extent. I think I was like kind of the opposite of her, so I kind of felt like that's not the only way to have a balance, or like you can't make it seem as if like that's the only way to be a healthy medical student, right? Because I study a lot and I prioritize school over everything, and that's on period poo, you know? And I'm not saying my roommate doesn't either. I'm not saying she doesn't prioritize school, but I'm just saying like for me, first and foremost, medical school comes first. Everybody else, YouTube, Instagram, everything else takes a back seat. And that comes from my college experience. In college, you know, I struggled a little bit. You know, we were on the struggle bus the first couple of years, but eventually I got it together. I felt like I spent more time. I felt like I wasn't serious enough about school earlier on, and I felt because of that I had to work a lot harder towards the end of my college career to make up for that in the past. And for me, I'm like, I don't want that to happen again in medical school, and it's that much more important that like I am more aware of that now, not relaxing too much where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna study this, you know? So for me, I actually am on the spectrum of studying a lot more. I care less about hanging out with friends, to be very honest. And I think it's also you guys know, it's also part of my personality. I'm a homebody. I love spending time with myself more than anyone else. So I personally am not really yearning or having that desire for that kind of thing. And I also feel like what plays a role is I had 2 gap years. So I had time to like not be in school and really do what I want to if I wanted to. You know, I had time to hang out with friends if I truly wanted to and do all that stuff. So I feel like I kind of got that out of my system, and I'm now in a place so ready to buckle down and just like be about school, be about my business, be about really getting myself in the best position to match into the residency of my choice. You know, that is what I want for myself. I want to work hard to do that. I don't feel like I don't have a healthy balance, even though I probably study a little bit more, even though I'm a bit more hard on myself. I try to do a little bit more. I try to do a bit extra work, all that kind of stuff. Like instead of being at pace, I tend to try to be a day or two ahead of school, right? Which is extra work in itself, but I feel good about that, and that makes me happy. And you know what, when I get my exam results back, I am pretty darn satisfied with what I'm scoring. So for me, it's like, it's obviously working, and I don't have to be like, oh well, I don't have an unhealthy, because the truth is I feel like life in medical school is not a one size fits all. Different things work for different people, and you're really gonna have to find, first you have to know who you are as a person. You have to know what's important to you, what you value, what you want out of life, what you want out of your experience, and I think that will direct how you choose to engage with your medical school experience. You know, me personally, I'm like, I done got it out of my system. I done twerked at the parties at Berkeley. I done, you know, strolled with my sorority sisters. I done went to David O concerts, Burna Boy concerts. I done did whatever it is I wanted to do and get out my system. So for me, I'm like, there's not much, I feel like there's not much more out there for me, if that makes sense, right? And I think I'm in this perspective where I have learned that like some of these things in the long term don't matter. And I no longer, maybe in college I would, but I don't have this concept of FOMO, of like fear that I'm missing out on life or something, because I chose this life. I chose to be in this position. I chose to pursue medicine because I know what my big term dreams are. I know what I'm working towards. I don't feel like I don't have a life out of medical school. Like, I'd be talking to my boo like 25 times a day, and somehow still manage to like get most of the work or all of the work I want to get done for that day and all that kind of stuff. Or I do watch my Netflix. You know, I need some recommendations because I feel like I watched everything. I obviously have time to make YouTube videos. Like, I am the most consistent I have been like in such a long time. Obviously, I'm finding time for things outside of medical school, right? You make time for what's important to you. I have chosen what's important to me, and I've chosen how and when to use my time. Like, for example, right now I'm filming this video because I would have been studying today, but they didn't post any of the lectures for tomorrow on Canvas, so I literally can't do anything other than review my Anki cards from before, which I haven't done, but I'm gonna do after this video. So I was like, you know what, I have some free time today, so let me film a video. But it is possible. You can have that balance you can preserve your mental health, but I think you have to be very aware of yourself. You have to be aware of your triggers. You have to be aware of your coping mechanisms, and you have to know when you're starting to feel burned out so you can address it and try to figure out how to fix it. Maybe I give this vibe off, but I hate the concept or the idea that like med students, okay, well, it's kind of true, but med students are so miserable, they have no life, there's nothing else you can do, because I don't think that's true if you don't want it to be true, right? But at the same time, I don't want people to think that like being able to study like only 5 days an hour and then going out every weekend will work for you, because that may not work for everyone. Some people have to study more or study longer or work harder for the same results, and I know I'm one of those people, right? Like for me to understand something, repetition is key for me. So for me, that means I have to spend more time on content, and that's part of the reason why I choose to be ahead in school, and I choose whenever I can to like watch lectures days in advance, so that way by the time that it is time for me to have known that knowledge, I'm just now reviewing it. So I feel like, okay, I feel good about it, as opposed to like feeling like, okay, I just learned it today and then now I have to spend the next couple days trying to know and understand and review this information on top of new information I'm learning, right? So I don't like this conception that like you're miserable in medical school. You know, you are, but you're not really, if that makes sense. And I'm actually curious to see how other med students feel about this. So if you're a med student, please comment below and let me know your thoughts on this concept. Let me know your thoughts on having a balance. I think it's important to recognize that like as a med student, you will spend a substantial amount of your time studying if you want to do well. Like if you don't care, then you don't have to study. But if you do care about doing well and you care about mastering the material and you treat everything you're learning as if this is going to save a patient's life, because it will, you will be motivated and dedicated to studying more, and you'll spend a lot of time studying. That part of medical school will never go away. You will always substantially spend a lot of time studying, but that doesn't mean that studying is your whole world, and that doesn't mean that like there's no time for anything else just because you have to study a lot. You know, we make time for things that matter. It's also important to have people and loved ones and friends around you who understand the hustle, because even though I kiki with the people I want to, I don't respond to text messages in a timely manner. Shoot, I don't even respond to emails in a timely manner. Like honestly, as a med student, I just feel like they need to like block out time for like admin time so I can like read text messages, read emails and all that kind of stuff, because I will like get backed up on like 100, 200 emails, and then whenever I have free time, spend that one day trying to go through them. You want to make sure you have friends who understand that you may not always be responsive, right? You may have to prioritize school over like something they want to do, right? You may not be able to hang out with them when they want to. Like they may have to work around your schedule because you're the busier one, I guess. I don't know. Everyone is busy, but y'all know what I mean. All in all, I don't want anyone to think that if you choose to spend more of your time studying and you choose differently how you prioritize your time, that doesn't make it any less healthy, or that doesn't make it that like there's something wrong with the way you're choosing to experience medical school. Now, don't get me wrong. There's definitely signs of burnout, signs of your mental health deteriorating, signs that like you're not getting enough like you time. You definitely have to do something about it, right? I'm not sitting here preaching that like, oh, study all the time and don't do anything else. Like that's not what I'm preaching, because I don't even do that. You know, there's sometimes I look at my Anki cards and I say, you know what? Not today, baby. Not today. Like that happened to me on Friday. Well, on Friday I was just so busy, but that happened to me on Friday. Like I just did not have time to review my cards, and then yesterday, I went through like 500 cards yesterday. It was terrible, but as much as I didn't like it, I had the day off beforehand, so I was like, you know what? I know why I'm doing more cards, because I took yesterday off. I took the day off, so I don't want anyone thinking that you have to study all the time, and I don't want anyone thinking that a certain kind of balance that works for one person will work for you, right? Because I be seeing some people that are in medical school, they be living their best life, and I'm just looking at them like, if you always on the Instagram living your best life, when are you studying? You know, but it's none of my business, right? They'll handle their own business. It's none of my business, right? I know for me, maybe doing something like that cannot work for me, because I know the kind of learner I am, and maybe it's too early to tell, but God forbid this should ever happen. I don't think my mental health has deteriorated in any kind of way. I definitely will say I think part of it comes from being very self-aware. I spent like 6 years in therapy, and in those 6 years I learned so much about myself. I learned so so much about how I process emotion, how I deal with other people, how I think about myself, how I think about others, that I really do think it set me up for success and grounded me starting medical school, because I knew who I was. I knew what's important to me. I know how I process things. I know what my triggers are. I know what my coping mechanisms are. I know what my unhealthy coping mechanisms are. And I know the things I need to do to combat that, right? So I think that really allowed me to go in headstrong into medical school. Again, I just want to say I am in my first semester here, so there's still a lot to learn. I may feel differently after winter. I may be like, you know what, F medical school, I'm dropping out, don't do it, don't come here. I highly doubt that will happen, but it's always a possibility, right? Well, no, I'm not, even if I hate it, I'm not going to drop out of medical school, because I'm not a quitter. But I think your experience is what you make it. I truly do. And I don't think that, like, you should compare what med school looks like for other people to what it's going to be like for you. And I also think it depends on the school environment you're at and the people you have around you. If you go to a school environment and you go to a school where you feel like you're supported, you feel like they care about you doing well, you feel happy, you feel content there, you're probably more likely to succeed there than at a school that, like, you feel miserable at. Honestly, I'm just so grateful for where I'm at in life. I'm so grateful for where the school I'm attending. I'm so grateful for the people in my life. I am just very content with my experience so far. Honestly, a huge part of it is I think I have my parents who pray for me so much. All I can say is the power of a parent's prayer is so strong. The power of family prayers are so strong that, like, I truly do believe it's because my parents are consistently praying for me. That is why, like, I'm so content, you know, and I'm happy where I'm at with my experience. There will be hiccups in medical school. Medical school is not easy. It's not fun by any means, but it's so worth it. Even the things that I'm, like, not even interested in at all, even the things that I'm just like, this is for the birds, like, you can miss me with microbiology, I remind myself that I am so privileged and honored and blessed to even be in a position where I can learn this stuff. I am in awe of how detailed, how meticulous, how amazing God is in creating human beings, in creating the world. I am in awe of the human body, of how we heal, how we manage disease, how we are susceptible to disease. When I think about every single thing I'm learning is adding to my wealth of knowledge of my body and how resilient yet delicate the human body is, like, I can't help but just, like, it makes the stress and everything so worth it. There's always that topic or something that's just not working out for you, so it kind of humbles you and says, you know, like, you're still gonna struggle, like, you're still gonna have hard moments here, but you're gonna be okay and you're gonna get past it. Thank you guys so much for watching my YouTube video. I hope you guys enjoyed me chit-chatting and whatnot. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We are almost at 10K. Don't be a pterodactyl. Go ahead and subscribe. Follow me on the Instagram at @theprettymed_, and I will see you guys in another video.